God bless you all. I hope you're doing well and resting in Christ. I was just thinking, I was laying here talking to God, and I was just thinking about what's coming to America and trying to view that from God's perspective. There's a lot of there's a lot of propaganda fed to us from the time we're born in this country about how good it is and righteous it is. And not that God hasn't done good and righteous things through this country, He has. But America is also Babylon the Great. And she has exported war and poverty on nations all over the world while filtering the wealth back to herself, making herself fat and rich. And the people of this land, not all of them, but a lot of them, I see judging those in the third world, in the war-torn countries, and thinking how they're less civilized or less righteous or less holy or less something. And there's such a spirit of pride in this nation, and it's not a good pride in most cases. I think patriotism has become an idol to many, and I see patriotism taught from the pulpit alongside God as if it should be exalted at the same level. But a nation's existence is a breath. It's nothing. I remember reading this A.W. Tozer book, and he talks about a woman's experience. I think she was maybe a nun or something, but she spent her life very dedicated to God, and she wrote a book, and in the book she said that she had a vision of God, and He was holding in His hand a nut. I forget what kind of nut she said it was, maybe a macadamia nut, something like that. But anyway, she asked him what it was, and he said, "That's everything that I've created so far." I mean, can you imagine a God that big? But He's infinite. Every attribute He has is infinite. Infinitely love, infinite joy, infinite peace, infinite wisdom, infinite intelligence, infinite power. And somehow, a nation on a little speck of His creation exalts itself to His level. I hear it at the pulpits all the time. And how much more now? The spirit of Trumpianity is being preached in this land. Can you imagine that? From our perspective, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to watch your nation fall. It's uncomfortable to see judgment all around you. But because God is righteous, and because He's loving, and because He's merciful, sin has got to be judged. And this is a nation that's filled with sin. A modern day Sodom. A nation that kills babies in the womb. Promotes it. A nation that exports pornography to the rest of the world. A beacon of entertainment. Of fantasy. A free pass to get lost in carnality. God's right to bring judgment. He's right. So as uncomfortable as it might be from our position, I should say our situation, because our situation doesn't really dictate our position. Our position is in the kingdom. But from our situation, as uncomfortable as it might be, we just have to rejoice in the mercy of God. That He would create an environment in which idols will be torn down, and those who have fallen asleep will have a chance to wake up. And darkness will have to clash with the light, and the unknown will be made known. And all the dirty things that have gone on in secret in the back rooms will be exposed. I appreciate that we serve a just God. I appreciate that He despises sin, and the reason He does is because it hurts His kids. The end result of all of it is death. And He hates it because He's life. And His attributes all lead back to Him. They all lead back to life. And His attributes are the opposite of sin. I appreciate a God like that. A God who loves so much that He would send His own Son to die, so that whoever believes in Him shall not perish, but shall have everlasting life. Will enjoy His attributes for all of eternity. I appreciate that we serve a God who so highly values the soul, that he would allow discomfort in the flesh that it might be saved. Sometimes I think that we think what's best for people is for them to have a happy, comfortable life. But I don't think that's always what's best for the soul. I'd be lying if I said that I would want to be uncomfortable. I don't. But I also remember this. I remember that when God took the Israelites out of Egypt, they plundered the treasure of Egypt on their way out. So we also serve a God that favors his children, a God that is powerful enough to provide whatever they should need. Even the birds of the air have clothes and food, and how much more does he love you? A God who can turn a couple pieces of fish and some bread from a single lunch pail into a feast for 5,000 people. He's more than capable to take care of those who belong to him. So the way I see it is our primary focus should be to trust him. My prayer is that he increases my faith to such an extent that nothing in this life could faze me. Because I know fully the God I serve. We see pieces of him, glimpses, but we don't know fully, do we? If we only fully knew the God we serve, how great would our faith be? I remember a vision I've shared a few times with a few people. I think on here once or twice, probably too. But I remember in this vision being on a beach, and suddenly all the sand on the beach began to roll out into the ocean. And the beach became a large hill. And each time someone tried to climb up this hill, they would slide down the sand and fall into the ocean. And at the top of this hill was an ark. And suddenly a Bible appeared in my hand. And I began to use the Bible to claw my way up this mountain of sand until I finally got up to that ark. And then I was lifted up. The world around us is turning to sand. And all we have to hold on to is Jesus, is his words to us, his promises. Some of those are this. He said, pray always you'll be counted worthy to escape all of the things coming upon this earth. Then to the church of Philadelphia, he says, because you've kept the word of my patience, I will keep you from that time of trouble coming to all those who dwell on the face of the earth. Well, sounds like everyone who will be dwelling on the face of the earth will be thrown into that time of trouble. So the question is, where will God's people be dwelling? I look forward to that day. I really, really do. And I know all of you do too. I know you're homesick. I know your hearts ache. I know that the darker the world gets, the greater our hope is in what lies ahead. But it's also easy to get caught up. It's easy to get caught up in this life. Jesus said, be careful that you don't get caught up in the worries of this life. It's easy to take it all on your own shoulders, to feel the weight of the responsibilities that you have, the positions that you have to carry, the burdens not only of yourself, but those around you. Because you've been strengthened for this day, and you've been given a greater amount of faith. You've experienced God for a time. For some of you, it's a long time. For some of you, it's shorter, but you've been prepared for this time now. And so you find yourself a support for those who have not yet gotten to the place where you are. And that can feel like a lot of weight too. I know some of you are nodding your heads. You know what I'm talking about. But wow, if we only knew, fully knew, the God we serve, we wouldn't carry that weight, would we? No need to. Because we would know that he's in control. We would know that he has it handled. We would know that there's nothing to worry about. We can't fail with a God like that. Well, anyway, just some things I was thinking about. I don't want to ramble all night. I'm sure a lot of you have things to get done. But anyway, I'll plan to see you all soon. If not here, then in the air. God bless. Bye.